My name is Veronica. I'm 14 years old, and I'm playing the part of Alice Lynn in Alice in Vaudeville.
Great. Tell me a little bit about what sparked your interest in the theater. How did you get started doing plays?
To be honest, it was mandatory class plays because my school was pretty small. So basically, every class did one play, and we were all kind of, I don't want to say forced, but we had to do like a play. Luckily, though, I enjoyed it, and it like definitely sparked my interest in it. That's kind of when I started like asking my parents if I could get involved with like local theater stuff, stages, Cardinal, and ever since then, I've just been kind of obsessed.
Great. So you've worked with stages and Cardinal. What has been your favorite role or your performance so far?
I think one of my favorite like roles was actually last year. It was Matilda in Matilda. Um, I think that was just like a chance to step out of my comfort zone because as a kid, like often I get like more comedic roles. And while Matilda has like some really funny moments, she's also a pretty like serious and like intelligent character. And I really enjoyed playing her, and I learned a lot from the like older actors in the show. Oh, and also Spiker and James and the Giant Peach and Kat from Honk, because they're just so like larger than life. It's fun to step out of your skin and play like these like characters that really ham it up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I read a lot when I was a kid.
Mhm.
What's the difference between like reading a book like Alice in Wonderland or James and the Giant Peach and actually inhabiting one of the characters with other people there to sort of create that reality?
Well, when you're reading, it's more like you're a spectator. Like you're seeing the character's thoughts, but you're like watching from the outside in, like looking in. And when you're that character, you're just completely like, even if they're doing something that maybe you don't agree with, you just like understand their motivations. And I think it really does help with like developing empathy and stuff. Because you get to like step into another character's like skin, you know, and see things from their point of view. It's really fun.
Absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit about your character in this show and how would you describe them from the outside?
From the outside, well, Alice Lynn, she's a 15-year-old girl. Sorry, she's a 15-year-old girl. She really loves showbiz. She wants to be like her grandmother, Gracie White, who's this big name in vaudeville. Except she wants to be a tap dancer, and she's extremely like passionate and hardworking when it comes to pursuing that dream. And she has like a lot of confidence in herself, even though she doesn't necessarily handle like getting criticism and like feedback very well, as I think you'll see.
Well, and then tell me a little bit about what it's like to be inside of Alice. What did you find that was surprising to you that was going on with her?
Well, it's funny because I think I actually, so she's 15. She's technically 1 year older than me, but I see her as like my younger self, like just getting started in theater and having that like confidence despite not really knowing what she's doing. And then like kind of getting knocked down a peg and dealing with like feedback and stuff. That's kind of like a similarity between us is that it's kind of like hard to handle feedback, although I don't think I take it exactly the way she does, which is curling up on the floor in the fetal position. So maybe not that dramatic, but like I kind of see my like younger self in her. She has this like naivete in everything she does, you know?
Great. Other than maybe curling up on the floor in the fetal position a little more than usual, how have you been preparing for the role?
I've been, it's really like the way you like normally prepare for a role. You know, you do your vocal warm-ups, you read over the script, you kind of try and like get into that mindset of like a sheltered kid who's like kind of just seeing this world that she's like wanted to step into for so long. Like you got to think about how this is something that she's like waited for and like practiced for so long, and now it's finally happening, like her going to vaudeville, but it's not like exactly playing out as she hoped.
Wow, that's great. When you think of vaudeville,
Mhm.
who or what comes to your mind?
I honestly don't like, I didn't really know a lot about vaudeville before I started the show, but I kind of just picture, I guess, this like troupe of people like who kind of have each other's back. I don't know if I picture someone in particular, but I just picture that like a theater group, but more more circusy. I don't know.
That's fine. That's great. Why do you think that this story is relevant for today's audience? What do you hope that the audience takes away from the show?
Well, I think what I hope to take away from the show is like nowadays a lot of people are so like scared of failure that they don't really put themselves out there at all. Like because we're kind of taught to, especially in theater, like judge everything we do. And with the internet, we're seeing like all of these professional actors and we're thinking, wow, I could never like live up to that standard. So like we don't even try because we feel like nothing like we can do can ever be like as good as that. But like that's not really like that's such an unhealthy mindset, you know? Like we should be celebrating our victories, not like seeking out mistakes. And I think the reason it's like universal is like the lesson Alice learns at the end of the show is that it's okay to fail. And like it even helps you improve a lot of the time because she was like so obsessed with her tap routine being perfect, but she was also trying to do it all on her own. Like if she had shown it to someone who even knew a little bit about tap, they could have helped her. Sorry, I guess what I'm trying to say is like failure isn't something to be scared of. It's inevitable in everything you do. The important thing is that you just like pick yourself up and you dust yourself off and you learn from it.
Brilliant, beautiful, wise words. So, what do you do when you're not rehearsing and memorizing lines?
Yeah, well, theater does take up a lot of my time, but when I'm not doing that, I play soccer. I like practice guitar. Um, I do a lot of reading and writing, trying to do more of that in quarantine. Or I was trying to do more of that in quarantine. And I like to draw and like watch YouTube and stuff.
Great. This was an audio play. So, if I'm correct, you got to work more with the voices of your fellow actors than the actual people in space. What were some of the challenges with that, and what were some of the surprising things that gave you that you couldn't have being in the same space with real people?
Yeah. I've always kind of been super interested in the idea of audio plays because the challenge is you have to put a picture in somebody's mind, but they're not really getting to watch anything. So you have to be a lot more expressive with your voice. Like you need to like vocalize your movements. Like ordinarily, if you're on stage, you could just like stroke your chin or something, but you would like have to be like make like a thinking gesture, but you could just be like, in an audio play, you know? And you have to like vocalize your movements, add sound effects, act without relying on like face or body was something I had to work a lot on because we're taught to be like so like big and like extravagant with our movements, but now we're having to condense all that into just voice, and it's like interesting to see what comes out of that. That's been a bit of a challenge, but it's also been really fun.
That's great. What advice would you have for anyone looking to get involved in the theater, whether they're younger than you or older than you, but they haven't really jumped into the pool yet head first?
My advice is just go for it, Don't worry about embarrassing yourself, because in theater, if you feel embarrassed, you're probably doing something right. You're encouraged, this is like the space where you're encouraged to make big choices and just give it 110%, even if you're ensemble. And I guess what I would want to say to someone just starting out is don't compare yourself to others. Don't think like, well, this person is at that level, so I have to be at this level too. You just focus on what you're good at, what your strengths are, and what you can improve on. Set little goals for yourself. And just take care of yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Veronica. It's been great talking with you about the play, and I can't wait to see what you bring to it.
Or hear what we bring to it.
That's right.